Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news show. Big show today. We're going to talk about the transfer window, the huge boost we've got, and not only Jason Wilcox, but Omar Brada being in charge, and a breakthrough in Dan Ashworth expected, but a budget of 150 million net, which can be raised by sales, and we're agreeing with Casemiro and McTominay potential sales that could bring in 30 million plus. This could be a very big summer for Manchester United with the right people in recruitment making decisions. Why is Jason Wilcox such a good appointment for Manchester United? We'll talk about Wilcox. We'll talk about the academy, a massive academy plan. I was speaking to someone actually. I will talk about this more in detail later in the show. But United really rate Shea Lacey and Harry Amas, and Ten Hag wants to have a look at them before the end of the season, interestingly, which is being reported. Particularly Harry Amas has caught Ten Hag's eye, and that might affect the left-back decision. But they have a feeling that Shea Lacey, you know how Ten Hag sort of had this vision for Maino about a year ago, that apparently Ten Hag's got a vision for Shea Lacey and Harry Amas, who he massively rates. The question is, will it matter? Because there's a possibility Ten Hag won't be here this season, and there's more and more rumours heating up about Zidane to United. Now, I've always said I don't ever see Zidane going to United. I just don't see him wanting the United job. But credible journalists are saying that Zidane is open to the Manchester United job. A lot of credible journalists, a lot of credible sources. He's been taking English lessons, and whether he's using United because he's not denying these reports, Zidane and Man United aren't denying these reports, whether he's using United to get maybe a Real Madrid move or the move he really wants, we'll have to wait and see. But it is being played about a lot, Zidane to United. But guys, please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new, and let's get into it. Zidane would demand full control. Ineos already said they want a coach who can work within the structure. That wouldn't work with Zidane. He's not going to listen to Wilcox and Ashworth. I think he would, because I think at Real Madrid he knew he was working with good people. I think if Zidane was working with idiots, he'd demand full control. But if he knows he's working with the best in class, I think he would demand some level of control, but not full control. But we can have a discussion about that later on. I want to start by talking about, of course, the done deal, which is Jason Wilcox to United. And did anyone see Southampton's statement? It was basically, we reluctantly let Wilcox go. Southampton's statement was salty, which makes me think the Dan Ashworth statement from Newcastle, because there's actually a feeling that we could get a Dan Ashworth done deal announcement in the next 2 weeks, according to some source behind the scenes, which has been leaking some information to some people. Imagine the saltiness of Dan Ashworth done deal. Because Southampton, you could feel the salt. So, it was said, breaking, Jason Wilcox has been appointed as Manchester United's new technical director with immediate effect. Romano announced this, Man United announced this, Southampton announced this. Manchester United's official statement after this announcement was that Jason Wilcox has joined Manchester United as technical director with immediate effect. He will work with all areas of the football department to achieve the highest standards of football. Jason was previously a director of football at Southampton, and before that, the academy director at Manchester City. As a player, he won the Premier League with Blackburn Rovers in 1995, so has more Premier League titles than Gerrard. Has obviously done a big part in like Cole Palmer, Rico Lewis, Oscar Bob, Phil Foden, their development at City. He did recruitment for the Manchester City Academy, where they brought in Lavia from abroad, Frimpong, all of that kind of stuff. And obviously, he's worked in technical areas before. He's worked as director of football at Southampton. He's done good recruitment for them to get back into the Premier League. He's done some very, very good jobs at Southampton, Manchester City, and of course, as a player. So we go more into Wilcox and his role. Why has he been appointed? What's his role? Even though Jason Wilcox has been appointed Man United's new technical director, Dan Fletcher will play a key role in the leadership team and report to Ashworth. So Dan Fletcher is the current Manchester United technical director. But if you know what goes on at Manchester United, Fletcher hasn't been the technical director. Fletcher was like the technical director and got the technical director name, but all Fletcher's done is work with the academy. He's basically done nothing else, which means fair play to him because the academy's doing well. So Ineos are like, well, the academy's doing well. We'll keep Fletcher. He has a role within the academy where he will report to Ashworth, who will oversee the academy. But we need an actual technical director who's going to be doing things an actual technical director would do, which would be first team recruitment. And that obviously is Jason Wilcox. Jason Wilcox will work on both player and academy recruitment at Manchester United. He'll work on the United Academy, he'll work on the United Academy recruitment, and he'll work on player recruitment at Manchester United. It was said Omar Brada, who was due to formally start work in July, was influential in the appointment of Jason Wilcox, who's highly regarded within the game and will provide immediate recruitment expertise on the ground for United. So you've got Omar Brada, who will be the financial guy of recruitment. Omar Brada at Manchester City, Tixie would go and do the more detailed recruitment, but Omar Brada would be saying, look, we cannot spend 80 million on Maguire. He's not worth it. Let's go spend 60 million on Diaz as an alternative. Omar Barada does the financial side. We've got to not overspend. We've got to sell well. That's something that we need. You've got Jason Wilcox, who'll be looking at those young gems, those academy gems, being a second eye on recruitment, and obviously Dan Ashworth that will oversee the process. Dan Ashworth himself admitted his expertise isn't recruitment. He's better at recruitment than what we've had in the past, but he oversees the process of recruitment. He'll have the specialist in. He'll look at what this team needs. He'll look at, okay, let's say we have a specialist in recruitment suggesting Man United sign another number 8. Dan Ashworth will be saying he's great, but they've got Mount, they've got Bruno, they've got Maino. They need a number 6. And he would say, is that number 8 what we need, or do we need to get a number 6 first? Would be Dan Ashworth's role. So with the 3 of them working together, one guy on the finance, one guy overseeing everything and making sure we get what we need, and one guy doing the finer details on recruitment. And with Dougie Friedman or Julian Ward potentially linked to come in on recruitment again and have a further person, that could be a really big change. That, Manchester United have not had a recruitment structure. So I feel like it's going to get better no matter what happens. Like, if you think about it, even if we just employed a basic technical director, if we'd actually had someone proper in, which the Glazers didn't do all these years, we'd have spent less money and had more success. So for me, this is a massive boost. This is like going from like Anne Hegarty to Margot Robbie. You've gone from having basically people that got the job because they were pals with the Glazers and bankers to do, the footballing decisions at United and all the scouts, to people that are not only employed in this job because they're good at this job and that's what they do professionally because they're football people, but people that have had success at the highest levels as well, which will be interesting as well. Big up everybody in the chat. Big up everybody tuning in. With the calibre of appointments being made by the new regime, confident they will make the right call on whether to keep Eric or not, if not, the latter is who they replace him with 100%. And that's what I'm trying to be like at the moment. I'm trying to be positive because it's been quite a negative season. I'm trying to be as positive towards Ineos and the takeover as I can. And the way I sort of sit there is I think, all right, well, we've got Dan Ashworth, Omar Barada, Wilcox coming in. Blanc, Brailsford, clearly clever, intelligent guys, not particularly football, more business-minded, but we've got the right people in place. And I think Ineos getting Ashworth and Omar Barada and Wilcox in is very encouraging. And I think, you know what, they seem serious. These are serious guys coming in. At the end of the day, I'd like Ten Hag to stay. I'm fed up with sacking managers every 2 years. But whatever decision Ineos make, unless they get Southgate in, I'll back it. I wouldn't sack Ten Hag for De Zerbi. I wouldn't sack Ten Hag for Graham Potter. But I would give them that element of patience of they're the footballing people. They believe this is the right decision. I'm not going to have hissy over it. I wouldn't do it myself. But they are the footballing people. They believe that's the right decision and try and be positive about it. And if they got Southgate in, maybe I'd have a hissy. But I'm of the sense of I'd like Ten Hag to stay. And if Ineos back Ten Hag, great. If Ineos do sack Ten Hag and they bring in Zidane or bring in De Zerbi, for example, do you know what? That's the footballing people. That's what they think's best. They've got a plan. That's sort of, I think, the stance I'm just going to go with and try and be positive because there's no point just being super negative and stuff as well. It was said, Alice, Zidane is one of my favourite coaches for Manchester United to sign because his experience with good human relations towards the players and everybody involved in the team. Yeah, no, Zidane, I think, look, one thing about Zidane, and one thing you'll get with Zinedine Zidane, and we're going to get into the Zidane news in a second, is he'll get the respect of the players, surely. Surely the players will be like, this is Zidane. Like, the players aren't going to, chat shit to Zidane. Do you know what I mean? He's one of those where I feel like all the players will, if you look at Zidane's first day at Real Madrid, all the Real Madrid players who were much bigger than the United players, much bigger names, were, in aura of Zidane, wow. Ronaldo was wow, Zidane's here. Do you know what I mean? I guess that's elements of what you need at United, unfortunately, because we've had player power and players that are a little bit too big for their boots as well. Big up everybody in the chat. We're on 50 likes, so please do continue to sack the like button. Michael says stop sacking managers. Look, I agree. Look, if Ineos sacked Ten Hag, they've made the decision. The right footballing people have made that decision. But I think sacking managers every 2 years is this toxic cycle. And I'd just like to see what would happen if we really gave Ten Hag good recruitment, good backing this summer. I've got 10 out, 7 in, really, invested in what he wants to do because we know what he did at Ajax. We know that he's a capable manager. I'd really like to see what Ten Hag could do if we just gave him that third season because we sack managers every 2 years thinking when we sack Ollie, it's going to get better. And it didn't get better when we sacked Ollie. Thought Ragnick was going to get better. It didn't get better. It's not getting better. And that's because we keep the same players. We kept the same recruitment. The recruitment is gone, but we need to get some of the players out. And I think that is the frustration if you do set Ten Hag as well. Jury out on Ineos, just wait until after transfer window. I think you can't fully judge Ineos until 3 years' time because a rebuild is a long process. There's so much to do. Like, people don't realise this, Ineos, this time next year, we're not going to be fixed. And unfortunately, there will be some fans that will be reactionary and saying that Ineos is rubbish if we finish, I don't know, 5th next season. But realistically, when you think about it, the club is such a mess because of all the debt the Glazers have done, the stadium, the facilities need changing. We are almost 10 years behind in a weird way off the pitch because of how neglected the club has been off the pitch, not employing the right staff, not having people for certain key roles that City and Arsenal and Liverpool would see as essential roles. We don't even have people to do those roles. You look at the facilities, you look at the stadium, you look at the decisions, you look at every little aspect of Manchester United, how it's been run the last 10 years, and you realise that Ineos can't change that in a year. Ineos can't change that in 2 years. 3 years is when we can fully judge Ineos, but we can judge them on the basis of this transfer window. We can judge them on the decision of the manager. We can judge them on this transfer window, but I don't think we could make any conclusions on Ineos till 3-4 years in, because I think it's going to take a long time to undo everything behind the scenes, change the environment, and obviously to get to the level of Manchester City, to get to the level of Liverpool, it's going to take a very long time. And that's one thing we can sort of judge the transfer window, but we can't jump to any conclusions and say flop, out, if you know what I mean as well. Ten Hag did win a trophy in his 3rd season, 100%. Big up everybody, 64 likes. Sat the players first, says Ryan. For me, I think the most important thing is that we sell 10 to 15 players and we get them out. I think the most important thing before we even think about the manager is getting those players out. Martial, Donny van der Beek, Brandon Williams, the complete deadwood needs to go. Amrabat Eriksson, Casemiro, McTominay, potentially in the midfield, Lindelof, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka potentially in the defence. You look at Anthony, Sancho, there's so much that needs to be done, and there's so many players that need to get out as well. You want to keep him if we lose to Coventry. It's not... The thing is, we could lose to Coventry, and he shouldn't lose to Coventry, but Wolves lost to Coventry. It's more about not results. It's more about the fact that I'm worried that if we get a new manager, they're not going to do much better, because we've seen this time and time again where we sack the manager, thinks things are going to go up, and they don't, because we don't get rid of the players. That's for me the stance. If you get rid of the players and then you get rid of Ten Hag, that's less of an issue. It's if you get rid of Ten Hag and then you keep all the players, which is a problem. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about Jason Wilcox, because Stretford Trends did a very, very good thread to give us a little bit of detail on Jason Wilcox and why he'd be a very good appointment for United. So I wanted to get into this is a little bit of what came out of the Stretford Trends thread on Wilcox, and they said that he was Manchester City's under-18 head coach, and he led them to 2 FAU Cup finals in 2015 and 16, and they won the league in 2016. They went and won like 4 consecutively titles after that in the Premier League North under-18s, which was what Man United have just won. As a coach, he worked with the likes of Tosin, who's obviously at Fulham that we've been linked to, Brahim Diaz, Jadon Sancho in Nemecha, obviously Angelino, David Brooks, Iheanacho, among many more. In 2016, he'd have a change in role and would be found in the position of academy director. So he was a coach for the under-18s, and then he had more of academy director role, which was overseeing recruitment and the whole academy as a whole. As academy director, he was in charge of implementing the philosophies of Pep Guardiola's football into Manchester City's academy so that the youth players would have a seamless transition into first-team football. He was also in charge of recruitment, as he'd identify young, impressive targets for the club. Now, if you look at Manchester City's academy, while none of them really come from United, and Cole Palmer's had to go to Chelsea to be successful, Manchester City have probably produced the best crop of young talents. They just shamefully don't play them at Manchester City in the last 10 years. And Wilcox has been a big part of that recruitment, but also the coaching and the nurturing of the academy players. They implemented Pep Guardiola's style very low down. And he was in charge of recruitment. He's identified young players for the club, and that's what Jason Wilcox will bring to Manchester United. It was further said on Wilcox, as academy director, he did oversee the likes of Phil Foden, Oscar Bob, Rico Lewis and Cole Palmer played for the senior sides. And on the recruitment side of things, Romeo Lavia is someone that he picked up and brought in, and then they obviously sold Lavia for a little bit of profit. We continue on. He served as academy director of Manchester City for 6 years, and City would win 4 consecutive under-18s title and have a FA Youth Cup final appearance in those 6 years. But last year, Southampton came to Jason Wilcox to offer him a position as director of football. So he obviously took that role because he's now overseeing not just the academy, but the whole club of Southampton. As director of football, Jason Wilcox went on to sign the likes of Shay Charles, Ryan Fraser and Taylor Harwood-Bellis in the summer, and Joe Rothwell and David Brooks in the winter. And basically, with Russell Martin, Southampton are currently making a strong push back to promotion. It seems like no one wants to win that title race as well. So they said that my guess would be that Jason Wilcox's role at Manchester United would be heavily linked to the recruitment side of things in the academy, alongside Nick Cox, who's done a phenomenal job as academy director, and Dan Ashworth, who knows how to streamline the philosophy throughout multiple age groups, as seen through his time with the FA and Manchester United, would look to develop clear pathways to the first team. I think Jason Wilcox's job will be doing recruitment for the first team, like he did at Southampton as director of football, but also doing recruitment for the academy, working alongside Nick Cox, making sure they implement the style of play they play with the first team into the academy, and making sure the pathway from academy to first team is seamless transition. You know, we've seen Kobbie Mainoo, Garnacho come through, Willy Kambala, but Shea Lacey, Harry Amas, they're two players that reportedly Manchester United really want to bring through. So it's almost that goal of, okay, let's make that transition almost seamless as well. Big up everybody in the chat, 300 people watching, so please do hit that like button, and of course subscribe down below if you're new. United have 2 big summers and spent 380 million. It's about spending wisely, which has been done for years. A better background, by the way. Appreciate it. I'm actually just filming in another room. But I think the most important thing ahead of this summer is where you spend the money. We can say, oh look, if we sell well, we could have 250, 300 million to spend, but actually the most important thing is how you spend your money, not how much you spend. Look at Chelsea, for example. They're not much better off than us. And I think with Jason Wilcox and Dan Ashworth and Omar Barada, I have confidence that the money that's going to be spent isn't going to be dropping 85 million on someone like Anthony. It's going to be thinking, oh, let's get a 40 million pound winger because we want to save another 45 million for a DM rather than spending 85 million on someone like Anthony. For me, I think with having Jason Wilcox in, with having Omar Barada in, and potentially Dan Ashworth in, at least the money we're going to spend going forward is going to be somewhat clever. Like, if you look at some of the names we've been linked to, we haven't been linked to any names where you'd just be like, yeah, that's ridiculously stupid. Like, it's not like, oh, Man United want to bring Neymar in from from Saudi, or Benzema from Saudi, and buy someone on who's like in their late 30s on huge wages, which we've done in the past, or buy someone from, you know, a PSG or someone that's kind of flopped big names. We've been very much linked to players like Xerxes, 22, 35 million pound release clause, a technical player, young player, improves his team. We've been linked to players like Sesko that are young and up and coming. We've been linked to obviously Elise. We've been linked to obviously Branthwaite, although Manchester United may take a step back at that because Manchester United have made it clear they won't overpay for Branthwaite. Tolibo, someone will be linked to. We haven't been linked to anyone stupid really, other than Drewsbury Hall. We seem to have taken a step back from those big sort of names, and I think that's something that we need to do this summer. We need to buy, you know, 5-6 players that in that 50 sort of million pound range, that are good players, that have the physical ability to play in the Premier League and can cover the ground needed, but also have the technical ability to play a modern style of football, and also have the attitude and unison to play as a team and work together. That's what we need in sort of our rebuild, to be honest, as well. Almost 300 people watching, so big up everybody in the chat as well. Smash the likes and subscribe if you're new. 330 people watching, big up as well. Nacho's a free agent. I wouldn't be surprised if, because United want 2 centre-backs, if we get 1 centre-back that's sort of the biggest centre-back, like, let's say we spend 50 million on Bremer, and then we bring in someone like a Nacho or a Tosin who's going to be a free agent. I wouldn't be surprised if we get 1 sort of big centre-back and 1 smaller centre-back. I wouldn't be surprised if we went for Anselmo, who's going to be 18, who's going to be about 12, 13 million pound with his release clause. I think he's 12, 13 million pound release clause. I wouldn't be surprised if we got like someone like that. I wouldn't be surprised. I do think Tosin's probably going to go to Spurs, but I think we'll probably go for a bigger centre-back signing, and then we'll go for someone under the radar. I can't see us getting Branthwaite and Tolibo. While they would be my first 2, Branthwaite and Tolibo, I can't see us getting them both. I could see us getting one or the other and going for a cheaper option, because we've got to get a DM, we've got to get a winger, we've got to get a striker, we've arguably got to get another fullback as well. The strategy seems to promote under 18 players to the first team and recruit 4 to 5 new players under 26. We're building a new team for the future. It looks like a generation shift, that says United Readers TV. And I absolutely agree. I think, you know, Manchester United are now looking at Harry Amas, thinking, do we need a left back? He is only just turned 17, so maybe we probably need a left back, because there's a big difference between, you know, 17 and 18, 19. But Man United are looking at Harry Amas, they're looking at Shea Lacey, even players like JC Fitzgerald, obviously Ethan Williams, Ethan Wheatley, that Ahmed Ibrahimov are also very highly rated within the club. United are having a serious look at the academy talents and thinking, if we can bring 1 to 2 academy talents through each season and recruit 5 players under 26 in that 50 million range, we can build something for the future, and maybe we can be where we want to be in 3 years, which is absolutely right as well. 3 likes of 100 likes, people, so big up everybody in the chat. Rabiot free agents thoughts. I think if we get a proper number 6 in, and then we bring Rabiot in as a free agent on top of that, I don't mind that, as long as Rabiot's not demanding crazy wages and we don't worry about attitude, because I do think we'll need someone. I think we need 2 midfielders, but the number 1 midfielder we get is a number 6 at Manchester United as well. We got everybody in the chat. I think for United, and I was thinking about this earlier, I think they want to sign someone that's physical, that can play as a 6 and can play as an 8. I think they want to sign maybe a Hulman, a Fofana, an Anana, a Max Weifer kind of player. I wouldn't be surprised if we got maybe a Fofana and a João Gomez and they're the 2 midfielders, or a Fofana and a Kieran Dewsbury-Hall and they're the 2 midfielders. I think United know that Casemiro needs to be moved on. Kobbie Mainoo can play as a 6, but if we want to get the best out of Kobbie Mainoo, we need someone that is physical, that can cover large amounts of grounds, which would allow Kobbie Mainoo to push forward, and is very good. So I think Man United will be looking at Anana, they'll be looking at Fofana, they'll be looking at Weifer, they'll be looking at Hulman as potential partner for Kobbie Mainoo, they'll be looking at João Gomez. I know some reports say midfield isn't a priority, but I think we all know midfield is absolutely a priority at Manchester United this summer. For me, I think we need 2 midfielders. And I really hope, because there's a report that came out that said that Ineos actually plan to rebuild around Kobbie Mainoo and they want to make Kobbie Mainoo almost the face of this rebuilding project. I really, really hope that if that is the case and they do want to make Kobbie Mainoo the face of this rebuilding project, they build that midfield around Kobbie Mainoo. They get that perfect physical 6+8 partner for Kobbie Mainoo that's going to get the best out of him. Because apparently Ineos see Kobbie Mainoo as the face of the project. They want to rebuild around him. You've got to get the best midfield environment for him. While Pogba wasn't great at United, I always felt that the midfield environment around Pogba never got the best out of him, and we know what a talent Pogba was, but obviously he sort of wasted it. Part of it was Pogba's fault, part of it was our fault. But we didn't get the best out of Pogba, but Pogba didn't get the best out of himself. I think we want to do that with Mainoo. We want to make sure we get the best out of Mainoo, because we didn't do that. We didn't create that with Pogba. We've neglected midfield for, I think, every year since Sir Alex Ferguson's left. We've neglected midfield in the transfer window. We always sign number 8 and we never get number 6s. Since Michael Carrick, we've neglected that role. We've won because Schneiderlin was crap. McTominay and Fred, we played there for years. We had Matic, and Matic did that role for a little bit, but he was aging. And then we got Casemiro, he did that role last year, but he's aging. We need a long-term 6. Matic and Casemiro were aging. We had 1-2 good seasons out of them. Well, 2 good seasons out of Matic, 1 good out of Casemiro. We need some 23-year-old that's going to be the next Michael Carrick for me, or someone that can play as a 6 and play as an 8 and unlock Mainoo's capabilities. That's, I think, what we need and what we've been missing for a while. Sesko to United. There's definitely a possibility that Sesko could come to Manchester United. I think because he's got a £43 million release clause, Manchester United see that as a very good option as well. One sec. Sorry about that. I just got a question. 108 likes, 355 people watching. Number 6 is in place. We need filling 100%. Manchester United massively need a number 6. And for me, we need the long-term Michael Carrick as well. Let's get back into the news, because I do want to get into a few more news and stories. So hopefully I'm off mute now. But these were the people that Jason Wilcox brought into United, and he's now going to be doing some more recruitment things. And we've sort of been talking about the importance of Manchester United recruitment. So Phil Foden, Rico Lewis, Oscar Bob, Cole Palmer, Jeremy Frimpong are a list of names of sort of people that have come through the academy at City. But let's develop further on into the latest on the manager front. It was said by Emmanuel Petit, for the last few months, Zidane has been taking English lessons. I don't know if he wants to come and manage in England, but this is an open door. Now, there are reports that have been coming out the last day that haven't been denied. And, you know, The Athletic haven't addressed this or anything like that. From reliable French outlets that Zidane is learning English. He would want the Man United job over the Bayern Munich job, even though Bayern Munich job is technically easier. He likes the idea of managing in England. He likes the idea of managing the Premier League, and that Zidane is open to the Manchester United job, and that interests him. That is sort of what's been said. It was also said that Roberto De Zerbi will most likely not become Bayern Munich's manager, and Zidane is also not a hot topic at Bayern. Zidane and now Roberto De Zerbi and Graham Potter are looking like the three most linked candidates to United. Now, I've always said this with Zinedine Zidane. I never believed that Zinedine Zidane wants to come to United, but now the news from credible outlets in France is saying Zidane wants to come to United. I feel deep down he wants to go back to Real Madrid and will be using links to United to get Real Madrid to hurry up and get that done because Ancelotti is leaving as far as I'm aware. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. That's my sort of feeling on it. I know that Ratcliffe rates Zidane. I know that Ineos rates Zidane, you know, Blanc, the French connections. Those at Ineos rate Zidane highly. They think that he's very, very good. Ineos, all of them rate Zidane. But yeah, I think for me, I can't see Zidane happening. Maybe I'll be wrong. I said I can't see us getting Casemiro, and we got Casemiro. I said I can't see us doing this. We can't see us doing that. I said I don't see us getting Dan Ashworth. We're basically going to get Dan Ashworth. So you know, just because I say I can't see it happening doesn't mean it won't happen. You know, Ineos have really surprised us. Ineos' ability to pull Dan Ashworth, Ineos' ability to pull Omar Barada from Manchester City, from Newcastle. We can't deny that Ineos have some kind of pull and Manchester United still have some kind of pull. So Zidane to Manchester United in that case is definitely a possibility because of the pull. But it's always been, would Zidane want to come to United? The media is shifting, saying Zidane would want to come to United. We know Ineos rate him, so potentially if Ten Hag's sat, there's something there. But we don't know if Ten Hag's going to be sacked or not. While it feels like Ten Hag's going to be sacked, nothing is confirmed. A lot of it is speculation in the media. And while this is more credible reports, is Zidane using United's name to get the job he wants with France or Real Madrid or the next club he wants to go to and getting them to hurry up or getting a better contract, because that's something that happens. Like, Zidane's a great manager. Ineos rate him. If Ten Hag goes, without a doubt, he would be on that shortlist to replace Ten Hag with De Zerbi, with so-and-so. But you always think, does Zidane want the job? Is Ancelotti not leaving now? Because I always thought Ancelotti would leave. So I'm not sure as well. But I do know with Zinedine Zidane, he's been out of management for so long. He hasn't managed for so long that I think because he's been out of management for so long, he wants to get back into it. I just don't know with United if that's the club he wants. My biggest sort of question mark over Zidane to Manchester United is probably more to do with the fact that we know that he likes to take over sort of big clubs and win them titles. If you look at Liverpool, you look at Arsenal, they might not win anything major this year, but Zidane could go in and within a year could win them titles. Whereas if Zidane comes to United, he needs 1-2 years to, I think, rebuild the squad before we can go to that level where he wins titles. Is he recently renewed his contract? Oh, he did. I was going to say he's been doing such a good job there. I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed there longer, but there was a lot of rumours that he was leaving as well. Barella's a good shout. I'd love Man United to go for Barella, but I don't think he's going to leave Italy. Not many Italian players leave Italy. So as much as I'm a fan of Barella and would like United to go for Barella, I can't see it happening, to be honest. But I think with Zinedine Zidane, I don't know. I think he hasn't been in management for a while. Maybe he'd like the United job, but we don't even know if Ten Hag's going to be sacked. We don't know if Ineos maybe see De Zerbi as a better fit because they know it's a rebuild. Zidane is someone that takes a second place team to first and makes that team Champions League winners. He would, like where Liverpool are and where Arsenal are, they might not win the league this season, but Zidane's the kind of guy that is the final piece of the puzzle that maybe takes them to where Arteta couldn't take Arsenal. I think Arteta's capable of taking Arsenal to a league title and they might still win the league title. And I think Arsenal or Liverpool is the kind of club Zidane would want to manage. Maybe he goes to Liverpool. I don't think so. I think they're going to get Amorim. Would he want to do 2 years of United of sorting out the crap, sorting out the rubbish at United before he can actually get to the top and challenging? And if he does, fair play to him, because Manchester United is the hardest managerial job and you've got to have some balls. I generally think you've got to have some balls to be the next Man United manager, because you've been thrown under the bus by the media, you get thrown under the bus, by the players, you get thrown under the bus by the board. You need some balls to be the next Man United manager. And I think I have respect for anyone that takes on the Man United manager job, because obviously with Ineos, hopefully that will change. And Jim Ratcliffe said the biggest problem at United is the environment, and he hopes to change that. And he believes that every manager at United has failed because of the environment set for them. So I think, the case is hopefully be different under Ineos because the environment's changed, and it won't be an environment where every manager that joins United is set up to fail. But I do think every manager that's joined United has joined an environment that is toxic. The players turn on you, the board turns on you, the media turns on you, you're set out to fail. So, whoever takes on the job, whether Ten Hag stays or we get a new manager, you have to give them respect. Ten Hag does the hardest job in football. For me, Manchester United manager is the hardest job in football. You might say, well, he gets this money, that money, but he never got the support. And hopefully Ineos changed that environment. So if Ten Hag stays, he can be a success. Or if we get rid of Ten Hag and we replace him with Zidane, Zidane could be a success, or De Zerbi can be a success as well. Zidane would need 400 million to spend and sell deadwood players. And I mean, this summer's massive. I'm going to round up this show by talking about this summer. This summer, it's super, super important that we get rid of the deadwood players and we spend smartly. We need to raise 100 million in sales, have a 250 million budget, and spend smartly. Spend smartly. And Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, Dan Ashworth will hopefully be very important and key to do that. Listen, people, please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. See you next time. Bye.